Well, welcome back to Talking Points here on WESN Content Capital. I am very happy this morning because current rule is back in my mind, but I won't go into that right now. Joining us is usually our Friday commentator, but as a guest this morning, as soon-to-be sworn-in member of the THA, Deputy Political Leader of the PDP, Dr. Faith B. Israel. Good morning, Dr. B. Israel.
Good morning, Dr. B. Israel.
Good morning, good morning. Yes, and it is an honor being here in a different capacity this morning. It is an honor. Thank you for having me. Exciting times.
Well, I sent you this message. We really wanted to have you. I guess to just have the conversation right after the election. Keaton, let me just ask the personal question, all of the official politics and formalities aside. You've gone through this journey now, you've come out the other side, the results are beyond what any of us, well, I can't say for you, what Keaton and I expected. How does it feel, before we get into all of the muck-de-muck, how do you feel?
I feel good, to be honest. I feel tired because it's been a long road. We've been working hard. We haven't been able to sleep just yet because people have been calling with the congratulations now as expected. But I think we feel good. Honestly, yesterday morning when we woke up, Tobago felt light. We felt like a dark cloud had been lifted off of the island. So it's just a matter of putting, doing the work now, getting the work in and doing what we need to do to fix this island. We feel happy. We did not expect that large number. We were just praying for the 8, but we were really, really happy to get the 14. That seems to be official now. And even the one that we lost, it was by maybe 2 or 3 votes, and we have to consider that that is a seat that we lost by hundreds, 300-400 votes in January.
Yeah.
To now only have lost it by 2 or 3 votes, that is amazing. That's amazing, and it is what it is. We are happy.
Dr. B. Israel, first of all, congratulations. A campaign well fought. 14-1, a clear message being sent, of course, to the PNM Tobago Council. The people of Tobago have spoken. When I was covering the elections on Monday night, I was in Roxborough, and I asked one of the campaign managers, what does this mean? He indicated freedom for Tobago, and that was in itself a very powerful message. So the PDP now has a huge task on its hands. We cannot in any way forget that, because the job started yesterday morning. Yes, there were dark clouds. It started yesterday morning. Going forward, what is the first business on the table for the PDP?
As health, we have a situation where I have already getting calls about what is happening in the hospitals today. I knew what was happening, and that is going to be a priority because we have to ensure that we are all alive and well to then deal with everything else that is happening on the island. So treating with COVID, reinstigating or what's the word? I can't remember. Bringing the Tobago COVID task force back up and running, adding some new members to that to ensure that we have a real collective comprehensive team working on brainstorming of where we are now and where we need to go, and doing that really quickly. The other thing that we want to push really is to ensure that we have transparency on this island, accountability on this island. So we'll do that on 2 fronts. One is to start very quickly with the digitization of the THA so that we have quick and easy access to our equipment, to our information, to our data. That's so that we can do the accounting part of it very easily, but so that we could also share that information with the public. The other thing that we are going to do very, very quickly is ensuring that we set up something to allow whistleblowing to happen. We know that they've been speaking about that legislation all the time, and it never happened in Trinidad and Tobago, but we want to set up a mechanism in Tobago to ensure that we allow people to feel comfortable to come to us when they have information about corruption, about illegal conduct practices and so on. So those are some of the things really, really quickly that we are hoping to jump into. Of course, you know, there's the issue with education, which has the link to COVID and all of that as well. But the aim really is to go in after our swearing in this week, do a real critical, honest assessment of what's happening, and then we prioritize.
Well, one of the issues will eventually be resources. You know, it's the underlying problem that more or less all governments are going through because of this pandemic. So I have to ask, have there been any sorts of plans considered for the communication and the ability to liaise, not just with the government, but with also the UNC, the opposition party? Because as it stands right now, the PDP doesn't have any representation, I believe, in Parliament, whether the lower house or the Senate. So to get the desires, the terms, the needs, the wants communicated, it's a tricky situation, because I'm not sure if this has ever really happened before. I know that there was a party that wasn't UNC or wasn't PNM, but they still had some ties to Trinidadian politics. This is a totally independent party that now has to figure out, how do we do business, at least until we have official representation in Parliament?
Well, the Tobago House of Assembly Act is very, very clear. Very clear about this. One, the Tobago House of Assembly Act says that the Chief Secretary is supposed to be liaising and meeting with the Prime Minister ever so often. We are supposed to be meeting, the line secretaries in Tobago are supposed to be meeting with the line secretaries in the ministries very often. That has been cleared up. The Tobago House of Assembly Act speaks about the amount of money that the Tobago House of Assembly should be getting from the Ministry of Finance every year and how it should come. So this does not, the fact that we are PDP and we are not PNM or UNC does not change the fact that the laws are very clear. When Assemblyman Farley made his victory speech on Monday evening, he reminded the Prime Minister that the Prime Minister is the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago and not the Prime Minister of the PNM, and reminding us in Tobago that the Tobago House of Assembly and him being Chief Secretary is the Chief Secretary for Tobago and not the Chief Secretary for PDP. So we need to work, we need to be mature in our approach to this, mature in how we respond to each other, and mature in how we function, because all of this is clearly laid out. We also hope that those in Trinidad, everyone in Trinidad, the cabinet and the parliament, recognizes that because of this very, very clear mandate, very, very clear mandate, the people of Tobago are very clear on who they want to lead Tobago, and they need to recognize that any ill will meted towards us in the executive is really ill will meted towards half of the country. The country is known as Trinidad and Tobago, and they need to recognize that we need to be treated fairly. We are not going to come with outlandish demands. We are not going to be unreasonable with our requests when we negotiate. We are not going to do anything like that, but we all need to be mature in our thinking and mature in our approach, and we have committed to that. We are hoping that they do the same as well.
I must say, I must commend the PNM Tobago Council. I must also commend the PDP for stating that they are willing to work with each other, and that is great. As I mentioned before, Tobagonians are stating PDP, PNM, IDA, whatever. We're all Tobagonians at the end of the day, so that's good. I must ask you, straightforward, the role of Mr. Watson Solomon Duke. And how much power, influence he's going to have. He is the political leader. He's the president of the PSA. But he's also, and we must be fair, a controversial figure. So what is the role, actually? Any ideas of what role he may play?
So Mr. Duke is Mr. Duke. One of the reasons why we are where we are is because Mr. Duke is the kind of leader that he was, the kind of person that he is, and we appreciate that of him. Tobagonians love him. What we are doing now is individually chatting with our chief sect-elect Farley to look at the best place to put all of our elected representatives. And in this instance, Mr. Duke is simply one of our elected representatives, one of the 14. We need to place 14 assemblymen and the 3 councillors, and we are having those very candid conversations, Assemblyman Farley, with each of those individuals, and we will make the announcement on Friday when the president comes up to assign us as secretaries or assistant secretaries in the various divisions. So, you know, several people have asked me the question this morning, who is going to be our minister for this, that, and the other? The only thing we know, and I have kind of, you know, unfortunately or fortunately, the only thing we know for a fact is that Farley is our chief secretary and I'll be the secretary for health. Everything else, we are working it out internally, and we will make that announcement on Friday. Exciting times.
Well, exciting times indeed, from running a campaign to now deciding who goes into what position. But again, you know, frustration, from frustration to progression, that seems to be the message that we're now hearing. What do you have in mind for Tobago? I know the campaign is over, but now that you're actually in the hot seat, you have 5 years. Not only do you have to work, sorry, my apologies, 4 years. Not only do you have to work with the government of Trinidad and Tobago, and the Prime Minister said in no way are we going to penalize the people of Tobago, but you have to work with the central government of Trinidad and Tobago while balancing the responsibilities of the THA. And bear in mind, again, you're not the PNM Tobago Council, you're a separate entity now. So, you know, what is your vision for Tobago, and what do you believe are the core issues that need to get done? Because I have another question after this in relation to progressing Tobago, at least with 4 years, which is not much time, actually.
It's not, It's not much time at all. My vision, I've been telling people on the ground, my vision for Tobago is for systems to work. What does that mean? We have a situation right now where everyone calls somebody in authority to get what they need. If you are in health, if you need something by the hospital, you try to find somebody in health to try to help you. My vision is to have a situation where you do not need to call anybody for them to help you, because the system actually works the way it should. So that is my long-term vision. Yes, we only have 4 years in this first instance, but I think that we can use the 4 years wisely so that people would give us the additional time to do what we need to do. I actually have been teaching a course in health quality management at an institution in Trinidad. And one of the things we talk about in that course all the time is the fact that you do not necessarily need to make large changes to see incremental improvements. What we would like to do is to actually implement small changes, but over time, so it's like cycles of change. Over time, you would see the cumulative effect of those small changes being implemented. That is our policy. That is how we are going to go forward. It's the only way to do it right now, because we are not in a situation where we can basically scrap anything and, you know, start from scratch. That is almost impossible when you're dealing with government programs and processes. And by the way, we need to also let people know that our aim is to not come and start from scratch. Our aim is to not come and you know, close down every project that was being done before, anything like that. No, we are going to come do a real honest assessment, determine what are the wants versus what are the needs of Tobagonians, look at the resources and ensure that we prioritize so that we get the needs met. And, you know, when we have more time and more resources, we work on the wants, but we would ensure that Tobagonians are well taken care of. That is the campaign we ran on, and that is what we are going to continue doing now that we've been given the mandate to manage the island. It's going to be hard, it's going to be difficult, it's going to be challenging, but I think we are all up for that challenge.
Well, very quickly, we have about 30 seconds left, but you know, we speak about campaign slogans all the time, and it was something that was very influential. For example, in the US presidential elections, Donald Trump, "Let's make America great again" versus Hillary Clinton's "Yes, we can." So let we fix this. I mean, how powerful was that? So how influential was that in the campaign as compared to protect your future?
Well, one, they recognized that one was actually speaking the truth and the other one was not. One was us as Tobagonians using our own dialect, using our own normal words to say, let us, and the we is the important part, let all of us, not PDP, not the executive, but all of us, every single one of us, come together to fix this. And that has been resonating on the island. And I think that is why we were able to win as well, because people realized that we were making a clarion call to all of Tobago, not just Tobagonians on the island, Tobagonians all over in Trinidad, in the diaspora, to come, let us all come together and fix this island known as Tobago. And by the way, when we fix this island known as Tobago, we are also fixing the country known as Trinidad and Tobago.
Dr. Faith B. Israel, once more, I wish you congratulations and all the very best. I know that you will be on Talking Points again in the future. Busy schedule, but as I said, the work began yesterday morning. Please don't
forget us now that you have achieved great things and us little people.
Listen, you cannot forget us, because from what I've learned this morning, I will be behind, even if it's not to come on Talking Point, to ship currency roll to Trinidad.
Oh, yes.
Yes, can I just, again, plug, yes, Breb's Bakery is the bakery that my family runs, and it's so funny that you all coincidentally just happened onto it, and you recognize that it may be the best bakery in the country. Thank you. Thank you very much.
It was a coincidence. Not one hell of a coincidence.
It was a serious coincidence, but beautiful and absolutely wonderful. Dr. B. Israel, thanks a lot. You take care.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All the best going forward.
Good luck, yes.
Definitely good luck. A lot of work. 4 years is not a lot of time, but let we fix this, and very powerful statements indeed. Folks, we break for news on the hour. We'll be back after this.